I don't know about you, Dunbar, but I got a number of clients waiting. Practice so large as mine requires my constant attention.
Yeah, I really don't want to be here at all.
Just hold your horses. This'll only take a minute. I want you to see that Nora's safety deposit box is empty. And then I'd like some explanations.
I showed you the true will yesterday.
Oh, that was the greatest piece of fiction I ever read.
That will was authentic.
But then how come you end up with a copy while the original copy can't be found?
Do you all want to see this or just one of you?
I don't want to be here at all.
All of us, I'll take it, thank you. Now, you'll notice that it's empty. There's nothing in there but fingerprints. And the question is, whose? I wasn't here yesterday.
Well, it's there now.
You know something, Mr. Dunbar? Now, you have been looking kind of tired lately. I think maybe you're just a little overworked. Now, look, why don't you give this back to the nice bank clerk and we'll drive you home, okay?
Let me see that.
What, you old...
This is the true will and testament of Nora Lindsay. See your signature right there. Now, look at this. I happen to have our copy of the same thing right here. And as you can see, they're exactly the same. Now,
Forgeries.
Oh, why do we want to forge my mother's will?
Both are fake.
you're running out of straws, Counselor.
Now, I can prove that that isn't...
This isn't yours to look at now. You lost the copy you had.
Gentleman and lady, you can settle this outside. I have other customers waiting.
Have you know that I
Let's
am
get
the
out
lawyer
of
here
here.
for
Yeah,
Miss
gladly.
Lindsay. Now, you listen to me. I've tangled with your kind before. And you're not going to get away with this.
Where there's a will, there's a way.
Both of you are going to jail for this.
Hey, not until after we pass go and collect $200, huh? Bye.
You want some breakfast?
No, I'm having some now.
Good protein is not breakfast.
Are you saying you want to make a meal for me?
Maybe. Even I can cook an egg.
Ah.
Besides, Friday morning's a light for me. I was going to go to the library, but if there's something I could do for you instead, I would.
Yeah, you can make me some toast so I can butter it up just like you're doing to me.
I told Phil that I'm going to make the trip, Russ, one way or the other.
Why'd you do that? Don't tell me, I already know. The guys in the band are all packing their equipment, confirming reservations, and I'm gonna blow the whole thing.
You don't have to blow anything if you just say that I can go tonight.
Oh, Becky, just let me sit here and digest my pre-digested protein.
Russ, I'll be back tomorrow.
Yeah, then you'll leave me again another night.
What's that supposed to mean?
That's the domino principle. You leave me alone one night, then there's another night, and then the weekends will start tumbling
Come
through.
on, I don't want the music to interfere with our whole world.
No, you just want to leave it all together.
That's not true.
Oh, Becky, I don't want to sit here and argue with you about this whole thing. Come on, man, can't you just back off on already, please?
But Francis said I'll have my hotel
Oh,
all to
that's it,
myself.
man.
Russ, I don't want to nag, but this is very important to me.
Yeah, nagging is exactly what you want to do. You want to wear me down so I don't have any more fight
Well,
left.
I wouldn't have to if you'd just be sensible.
Oh, really? I see. Well, what am I being now?
You're being selfish. Seems like the world is made out of two kinds of people, either pro-Russ or anti-Russ. Unfortunately for me, Phil is anti-Russ.
Yeah? Which one are you?
I don't think you want me to make that decision right now.
Oh, it's me. Well, hey, I've got to watch out here.
Do you ever notice that whenever you're in trouble, you turn to sarcasm? Hmm?
Sarcasm and selfishness. Hey, don't stop now. You're on a roll there,
Right
kid.
there, sarcasm. Yep, right there, see?
I'll be serious. You go to your concert tonight. Go. I don't care. Sing to Mr. Cohen. But don't expect me to be here when you get back.
Do you mean that?
Absolutely.
I mean the part about me making the trip. Do you mean it?
You know, you You once threatened not to come home if I stayed at the Tiger's Paw. Well, I stayed, and you came home anyway.
As I recall, that's the night you proposed to me.
Yeah,
isn't it?
well, you backed down from a threat anyway.
Russ, you're being ridiculous.
No, I'm making a point. My point is that your threats don't mean anything. Mine do. Go tonight, and don't expect to find me here when you get home, Beck. It's that simple, babe.
Russ, I am going tonight. And what you do is your business.
And there was the will. Plain as day. And there's Webster and Nancy staring at me as if the pilot light in my head had gone out.
You're sure it wasn't there yesterday?
Then that box was absolutely empty. Oh, that will is a fake. It's got to be. I helped Nora make out a real will, and Nancy wasn't even mentioned.
Have you told Terry?
No. I wanted to tell you first.
A chauvinist to the end, huh?
No, that's not it. You know what she's been through recently. There's no sense of alarming her about this. Let the dust settle first.
Mitch, this fight could take years.
It could be. There's no reason why we can't get started right now and get a leg up before Terry's informed about it.
How's that?
Well, I'm going to see Judge Slaymaker today, and I'm going to demand a court order requesting that we get a copy of that will.
You can make Webster hand it over?
Possibly. You see, Beth, Judge Slaymaker and I go back quite a ways. And if I catch her in a good mood, well, who knows?
Well, this isn't fair to Terry. I mean, she deserves peace and quiet now.
I couldn't agree more. Ben, the reason I asked you in here today was to give you a warning. From where I stand, things are going to get a lot worse before they get any better.
Come in.
Nancy,
Oh, it's you.
did I catch you at a bad time?
No, it's all right. I just thought it was someone else, that's all. Boy, you're looking nice.
Yes, and so are you, and why?
Was this a condolence visit?
Nancy, you just lost your mother and your brother-in-law?
Miriam, I've gotten over that. I told you that.
Didn't phase you a bit, huh?
What do you think I could get for this?
$50?
Make it 45.
What are you doing, having a sale or what?
Well, person's gotta get a little spare cash, and seeing as it's almost legally mine.
That'll be sooner or later.
Well, why wait? You know, they gotta liquidate your assets.
Yes, and Nancy, you know, the way you conduct your affairs is sometimes just an inspiration to me.
Well, Miriam, dear, a woman's reach has got to exceed her grasp. So, what is work with your father like these days?
Oh, all I'm seeing is a string of pitiful, lecherous, middle-aged men that Daddy wants me to be nice to all the time.
Oh, yeah? How nice.
No, Nancy, not that nice. But why is it that life always seems to give money to the morons?
25?
No, call it an antique.
300.
You know, the thing that I see is with Paul, at least I was on the offensive, and now I'm fending off the guys, and I really like the attack better myself.
You should have Harold Webster after
Well,
you.
he just got a divorce.
Oh, my luck.
He must be after you.
Well, you know, the guy's handling this legal case for me, but
Uh-huh.
he's starting to drop little hints like he would prefer something else than his check. You know how that makes me feel inside?
A little unsettled.
Worse than that.
How about sick?
Keep going. As long as I can just string him along so I can get through all this legal nonsense.
Nancy, I really wouldn't worry about them. You know, the older they are, the more they like the chase better than the catch.
Words of wisdom.
As gleaned from experience.
Ugh, this picture. You know, I feel repulsed every time I see this. That's how I feel about Webster. Repulsed. Look at him.
Listen, you'll love this one. Welcome, please, the satin voice, the crying tones, the pulsating, compelling siren of Kingsley, Becky Hewitt, with Summerwind.
Francis, I think that might be a little bit too much.
Hey, Phil, man, we gotta leave in 15 minutes.
Yeah, I know that.
Well, where is she?
Look, she gave me her word, okay?
Okay, try this one. Ladies and gentlemen, the acme of rock and roll, Summerwind.
Acme.
Oh, what do you want? You want Pinnacle?
I want something that's intelligible to anyone who didn't take trigonometry in preschool.
Hey, Phil, man, where is Becky? Man, if she doesn't show up, Cohen's gonna think we conned him.
Look, Louis, she said she'd be here.
Yeah, what she says and what that jock back home says are two different things, you know?
He doesn't own her.
Yeah, tell her that.
And now the bandit will put you between a rock and a hard spot. Summer wind.
Francis.
Hey, guys.
Becky, you know, the first gray hair I find on my head is going to be named after you.
I knew you'd be glad to see me.
Did Russ let you come?
Don't worry about that.
Becky, I want to let you know I never doubted your faithfulness.
Yeah, well, not many men can say that.
I meant to the schedule.
Hey, what's the matter?
Just from one crisis to another. Now that you're here, I'm free to be terrified about tonight's audition.
Don't you worry about a thing. We'll just sing to each other and forget all about that agent.
Where all of a sudden did you get such professionalism?
Well, it's either that or fall apart from fear in front of you. Hey, Phil.
Just for good luck. Come on, let's go.
I trust you've seen the affidavit that I prepared.
Yes, it was interesting, but not conclusive.
Well, if you want conclusive, get me a copy of the will, and we could address every point.
You know I can't do that.
What about the restraining order, Your Honor?
I've already issued one.
To keep Nancy off Nora's property?
No, the restraining order I issued yesterday prohibits any of the Davidsons and you, Dr. Martin, from interfering with Miss Lawson's use of Mrs. Lindsay's house.
Yes.
Counselor, they had a valid case. I was shown the will.
Prior to the hearing?
Only to check its authenticity. The appropriate stamps and signatures were there.
At least you could have called me in on it.
Mitch, I didn't know you were in on this case until you walked in the door.
You mean to say they never even mentioned my name?
I would. Dr. Martin, could I speak with the counselor alone, please?
Yes. You know, this really is a mistake, Your Honor. The restraining order...
Ben, please. You operate, I argue. Good. Now we can drop all this courtroom posturing. Beth, you really blew it this time.
How refreshing. A lawyer who gets to the point.
Oh, believe me, that will that you saw yesterday was as phony as the grin on Webster's face.
Ha, Webster.
Oh, you know about his character, I see.
Intimately. He and George go way back.
Well, then why on earth do you listen to the man?
Oh, Mitch, he painted this picture of Miss Lawson's suffering, being harassed to no end by her relatives.
Well, you get the negative of that picture and you'll get the truth.
I wasn't passing law, Mitch. I simply imposed restraints so there'd be no more trouble until the hearing.
Oh, these civil suits can take up to 2 years.
Mitch, do you really want this young upstart advising you to be patient?
Beth, George have anything to do with this?
Mitch.
Well, you said that he knows Webster.
Trust me. George and I have an understanding. We communicate very little about our professional lives. As opposed to our private lives where we don't talk at all.
I see. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. I thought things were much better by now.
Oh, I'm not complaining, Mitch. I mean, I'm very satisfied here for now. George has his political aspirations, and lately things at home have been quieter.
Well, you know, marriage isn't supposed to be a truce.
Oh, Mitch. How do I get the feeling that this is your office and I came here for advice?
Come to it naturally, I guess. Once a tutor, always a tutor. But I must say it's sort of an insult to my ability as a teacher if you can't see through Nancy and that grinning clown of a lawyer.
All right, Mitch. I confess. I thought they were up to something. But I didn't get my degree in suspicion. It's in law. And legally speaking, what I was shown and told seemed perfectly sound.
Ah, seems is the key word. So I expect that what I've got to do is to strip away appearances and show you the truth.
I wish you the best.
Thank you.
But I think they've got you on this one, Mitch.
You just keep it up, Beth. I love being the underdog.
I'll be here when you get back, Mitch.
That'll be very soon, Your Honor. Very soon.
Hi.
Oh, yeah. How you doing?
May I?
Please. Oh, I want want you to know that I'm sorry about your father. Really, very sorry.
I appreciate that.
Well, I suppose everywhere you go, you get condolences. Must get kind of tiring. I won't say anything else about it.
I haven't congratulated you yet.
What'd I do?
You got married.
Oh. Yeah, I didn't know what you're talking about. Yeah, well, that was nothing. I mean, it was everything to me. It just that it happened, you know, a little while back. It was a simple ceremony between Becky and I. And besides, we've been together anyway.
So, what do you think of married life?
Challenging.
How's Becky?
Fine.
Feeling healthy?
And the pink.
Ben was telling me that she was in the clinic for a while.
Just a bug. It passed. So how is Betty?
Fine. Things are fine.
That's good.
And Becky's singing for Summer Wing.
Yep.
She's out of town tonight?
Looks like there's no reason for you to talk to me. You know everything.
Well, I talked to Becky yesterday.
Yeah, I know. She told me. You offered advice. Nice to know that marriage doesn't change a person.
Obviously. Russ, can I ask you something?
Shoot.
This isn't easy for me. I'd much rather walk the other way and not even bring this up. But when I was in the hospital, you said you were coming closer to the Lord, that you were believing and praying. Russ, did all that leave when we broke up?
Well, I still think about it. It's, I mean, him, you know, it's whatever it is. Oh, come on, Lori, does it really matter to you? I mean, how I feel about the God?
Of course it does.
Do you know what I've been through?
No, I don't. Not everything. But what does that have to do with this?
Well, I feel like I've given him a lot of chances to come through for me. It hasn't, so go on, say it.
No, you don't want to hear it.
You're right, I don't want to hear it, but I'd hate more of you sitting there and not being able to tell it to me and holding it in.
Russ, you do things you know are wrong. You hurt your friends. You work to please yourself. And then you wonder why he isn't pulling through for you? Russ, look, I'm not saying that you have to be perfect to win his help. But you do have to admit to him and to yourself just how imperfect you are. That's the first step. See, I told you you didn't want to hear it.
Look, Lori, we don't see eye to eye in this, and we never have. But the fact that you are still interested in me like this, not that you're sizing up a husband or anything like that.
I'm glad.
Yeah, good.
And finally, Miss Lawson, the earrings, which I've appraised for $1,400.
Hey, there were diamonds in that setting. You know those shiny little hard pieces of rock?
I know my business.
Yeah, well, just get to the bottom line.
Well, there's the ring, turquoise, bracelet.
The solid gold bracelet.
The gold-plated bracelet, well, it all comes to $15,000 if I round it off.
Rounded off to what? The nearest 5,000?
You know, there are other jewelry stores.
Yes, but I drove by here and I took pity on this place. Now, don't turn down the biggest deal in your fiscal year. I mean, you could get $22,000 for that stuff, and I'm only asking 20.
Oh, I wouldn't dream of paying as much as $16,000.
19.
16 and a half.
$17,500, and that's it. That's my final offer.
Deal.
You're lucky I'm in a good mood. Now write it up.
This is your good mood?
But Terry,
Why, Alex?
it's so good to see you back at work again.
Oh, it's good to be back. It makes me feel almost as though things are returning to normal.
Or as normal as could be expected. How have you been doing?
Well, it's getting a little easier. Occasionally somebody from out of town will call for Scott, and I'll have to go through it all again. But I'm gonna make it.
I never doubted that for a minute.
Thank you.
Excuse me, I'm looking for Mrs. Terry Davidson.
Yes, I'm Terry Davidson.
Ma'am, my name is Harley Robbins. I'm a process server. This is a subpoena to appear before the hearing of Lawson versus Davidson. The dates, times, and places are all in that document.
What? What is this?
Well, professionalism aside, this is your sister ripping you off.
Lori and Peter's names are on here.
So is your husband's. He still exists in the form of an estate.
What does Nancy want with Scott's estate?
Oh, you read it all in there. She's suing for mental anguish due to his negligence at the wheel.
Mental anguish?
Right, the death of her mother. Is that so hard to understand?
Look, you've done your job. Now just get lost.
Yeah, sure. You've got 15 days to respond, Mrs. Davidson.
Russ, I knew you'd come back tonight. I went on the trip because I felt it was right for me. That doesn't mean I love you any less. Already I'm looking forward to coming back and telling you everything that happened. Without you, this is just a job, but with you to share it, I'm making a life for myself. I don't believe your threat because we always make those when we're angry. It's our promises that we make in love, and that's why they last. I love you, Becky.